Hey guys, it's Sarah, and I am back with another video this weekend. You guys may have seen that Sarah Nerd Norgan and Fat Kings Phil and I did a live broadcast talking about parenting after WLS this morning, so you can catch that on this channel as well. But I don't know, I guess I just wanted to make up for all the videos I didn't make while I was in Tampa, but there's been a lot of stuff going on in the community, and it's kind of brought some stuff up and made me want to talk about some stuff. And this video today is probably more a video about questions than it is about answers. And I'm hoping this is a video that other people will kind of tag up on and make response videos, and something we can just talk about in the community, because I think it's something that is really important to consider. And I just kind of wanted to put it out there and give my thoughts and opinions, and hopefully you guys will do the same. Basically what it boils down to is being about why you make YouTube videos, why you put yourself out there, how much of yourself you share, and whether that is a positive or negative thing for you and also other people. So this kind of all started based on some comments that I had read on Facebook. The comments were not directed to me, so I have to put that out there. This wasn't something that was said to me directly, but it was in a roundabout way about me, as it came out of a discussion about kind of Team VSG and alcohol and Tampa drama or whatever. So I wanted to read the comments. I'm not going to name the person who made the comments, because honestly it really isn't about that person. I'm not trying to call them out. I just thought the comments were very interesting and something that I wanted to kind of address. So that's why I'm just going to read the comments without letting you know who it was that said them. So here's what was posted. These are excerpts from two different posts on the same topic in the same thread. I have removed parts that I don't think relate to what we're talking about or that are specific to someone. So that's all I'll say about that. So here's the quote. "You guys post your lives on YouTube. People know you even if you don't know them. It might be better to reframe the conversation to discuss deeper issues regarding self-acceptance, establishing filters, and the benefits or lack thereof of processing your problems online. Clinically, it can be classified as narcissistic. I don't want to get into these arguments, but I do see issues that could be more productively worked through in a better suited, safer environment. The world does not need to know all that is put out there on YouTube. Drama ensues, feelings get hurt, and damage cannot always be undone in your personal life once it goes up for the world to see. Living your life online and sharing all the troubles and triumphs of weight loss surgery online can become imposing. Many people get upset with me for this belief, but we have to learn to establish filters for our lives. We cannot post everything we experience and not expect repercussions. The idea of feeling stuck in a teenager's mindset is just this. One might not grow into the maturity or understanding of the importance of living your life quietly, finding composure within oneself, and working through problems without making it a public event. We all process differently, but eventually we have to move past our current belief system. Living life offline is actually living life, growing, changing, moving forward, and taking care of what is important, rather than growing a following of people who may or may not be helped by your display. This drama does not bode well for newbies in the community. It should steer them away, but often it gives them the idea that post-op life is a party, weight loss is easy, and being part of the it crowd will make life grand. It doesn't. Finding yourself and your place in the world makes the best life. Learning to respect yourself and gain wisdom of what is appropriate to broadcast, that's how we grow into who we should be. This is not my first day at the rodeo. You guys are not the first people to think I'm out of line for expressing these opinions. I honestly don't care about that. I'm saying these things because I know them to be true from watching numerous people struggle online and in therapy. The only person who needs to accept you is you. You don't have to tell it all to the YT world. Sometimes it's better left for personal reflection and your close support systems to aid in your process." Okay, so those were the comments. And I want to say this up front. I agreed to some degree with what was said there. In a lot of cases I disagreed, and I'll talk about that. And I don't know that I also appreciated the tone of those comments. I felt they were a little condescending in that, anyway, I'll get into it. But I kind of want to go through the things that I wanted to talk about. And again, this isn't to call it the person who made the comments, but when you post things publicly, they are public domain, and if you're going to post things that involve myself or people that I know in a situation you might not know as much about, then I'm going to have something to say about them. But really, these comments are just generally directed at the community, because I do think it's something that's worthwhile to discuss. So some of the things that were talked about in that, I had to make notes because honestly I made a separate video and it was a bit disjointed because, yeah, I wanted to make notes and make sure I covered everything. But so one of the things that was said was that putting yourself out on YouTube and sharing your problems with everyone could be classified as clinically narcissistic. Which, I mean, clinical narcissism is a little different than, you know, what most of us think of the definition. But basically the idea is that, you know, you're real into yourself and you feel a need to put yourself out there to get, you know, validation from people, etc., etc. And I'm not a therapist, so don't take my exact word on that. But that's always how I've understood it to be. That was one that I really had to think about. You know, I always say that the reason I started making YouTube videos was to help other people and to give back to the community. And, you know, I had to go back and think, is that really the reason? And, you know, maybe I'm in denial, I don't know. But that's still the reason as far as I'm concerned. I started making videos to give back to the people who had given to me, whose videos I had watched. And the only way that I could give back, I couldn't give back to them directly, but I could give back by doing the same for others. And I'd like to think that I've been quite successful at that. Do I feel like I'm a narcissistic person? Probably. In some ways I think I am. You know, I always was an attention whore. And actually being overweight had a lot to do with that. I've talked about that in videos before. And actually Sarah Nerd talked about it in our Size Queen Saturdays today. That, you know, you make the choice to either put yourself out there and get attention or basically be the pitiful fat person, you know, who doesn't get any attention at all. So do I like attention? Sure. You know, I was in theater. I get up and, you know, sing karaoke every week. I like to get involved in things. I like to socialize. Interestingly enough, I'm actually an introverted person, but I learned to socially be out there and put myself out there to get attention just so I could socialize with people. So, you know, is there part of me putting myself out there on YouTube that is me liking to hear myself talk or me liking people's attention? I guess, but that's not the main reason why I make YouTube videos or why I share what I do. And, you know, part of what was said is that, you know, you don't have to work through all your issues online and that maybe there's something unhealthy about that. I think everyone processes things differently. And for me, I process things by talking. Sometimes it's to myself, sometimes it's to other people, sometimes it's to you guys, my YouTube family. That's how I process things. That's how I work through things. And I don't think that sharing those things is a negative. That's just my point of view, but I don't find that sharing what I'm sharing on YouTube is harmful to me. And I know based on the many, many comments, and here I go talking about myself, but I've had hundreds of people message me or email me or talk to me and tell me that me sharing my journey and being as open and honest as I am has been helpful to them or motivating or inspirational, which honestly, that's the most important thing to me. That's why I'm doing this. So no, I don't regret sharing everything that I share online. I think there need to be people who share everything and who are real. Do I think that you need to overshare beyond the point that you feel comfortable with? No. I mean, I think if you're making videos, you share as much of yourself as makes you comfortable. I would never suggest to people that they need to be telling everyone their business on YouTube and on the internet. But I've made the choice to do so for others, not for myself. I don't get anything out of sharing my personal problems or talking about my emotional or mental issues or any of that. But I always hope that someone else does. One of the things that sort of bothered me about the comment was the comment about being stuck in a teenage mindset, and that, you know, it's the idea that you need to put everything out there to get attention, and instead you should be craving, you know, and working towards a quiet life of reflection, blah, blah. Sorry, I don't buy that for a second. We're not all the same. Not everyone wants to live a quiet, reflective life where they deal with their own problems personally. Everyone deals with things differently, which was actually said in the comment that people process differently. And the way I process is to share. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't think that's harming anyone in the community. And as long as it's not harming me, sorry, I don't see what the problem is. I know some people are resentful of people who want to share as much as some of us do, but that's your problem, not mine. Sorry. If someone doesn't want to watch my videos, that's cool. I don't care. If someone wants to make judgments, that's on them. It's not on me. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit later as well. The other part that kind of pissed me off, to be honest, was saying that living life offline is actually living life. Guess what? I'm online and I still have a life. It's not like I spend all of my time on YouTube or Facebook or whatever. I spend my social time on YouTube and Facebook, but I still have friends that I socialize. I have a family. I'm a very successful businesswoman. I have a husband. I don't feel like I need to justify the fact that I live part of my life online. My online persona, which honestly it really isn't that. This is just me, and anyone who's met me I think probably knows that, but that's not me trying to enhance or live a different life than what's going on every day. This is just me sharing who I am. And again, I know that those comments weren't directly said to me, but I just wanted to comment obviously from my experience and my point of view. So I guess what I wanted to talk about was, I talked about why I make videos, and I think that's something important for everyone to talk about, because I get a lot of comments from people who will say, I watch videos, but I'm not sure if I want to make videos. I don't know if I have anything new to say. I don't know if I can share as much as you do. I think the idea of this community, the idea of making videos, it's really all about what is most helpful to you. If you feel like making videos would help you, then go ahead and make them. You don't have to make them public. You can just make them privately for your own use. You got to do what works for you. I don't think we can brush everyone with, or we can, brush everyone with these wide strokes and say, yes, everyone who's on YouTube is a narcissist who, just wants to talk about their personal problems so they can get attention. I don't really buy that. Phil and Chris Waffle both talked about something in their videos this past week, which is kind of related to this. Phil talked about the idea of putting people up on a pedestal when it comes to YouTube or the community, whatever. And that, people want to put you on a pedestal, but, they need to also give you a soft place to fall, because you will fall. And then Chris kind of, disagreed with that and said, well, just like if you're a celebrity and you're complaining about the paparazzi, like you knew what you were getting into. You knew when you started putting yourself out there publicly that there were going to be people who judged, people who tried to tear you down, because that's what people do. They want to build you up at a certain point until, you get to a place where they're not comfortable with, and then they want to tear you down. And sometimes it's the same people that do that. I kind of agree with both of them, to be honest. I understand the reasoning behind, sort of elevating certain people in the community to a certain status, or looking up to people and thinking, everything they do is great. I did that too with people. It's human nature. But at the same time, you do have to realize that we're all, just human. We're just people with the same struggles. I'm definitely not perfect. I'm deeply flawed for sure. I hope that's what makes people want to watch me and be interested in what I have to say, because I'm not perfect. Far from it. And I was always aware that putting myself out on YouTube is putting myself out into the world and exposing myself to being judged. But you know what? People, I've been overweight my whole life. I've been morbidly obese 20 years. I weighed 460 pounds. I was judged every day of my life, and frankly, even at 220 pounds, I'm judged every day of my life. So being judged is nothing new to me. It doesn't really bother me. I have a thick skin. The problem is that when I read comments like this, I worry about what it does to new people in the community, because I'm concerned that people, and I've heard people say this before, they don't want to make videos because they're afraid of people's judgment. All I can say to that is, what other people think is none of your business. Okay. The one thing I do agree with in those statements is the only person who you need to be worried about is you, no one else. So I really hope that you guys will comment or make your own response videos, because I do think it's an important thing to talk about in the community, about why we make videos and whether it's helpful or hurtful to us in our journeys. So yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing what you guys have to say. Have a great weekend.